What's up, everybody? Welcome to Building Our Power. This is Gabby.
And KT.
And we're back with another episode. As you can hear, something is going on with Gabby and KT. What is going on? We have contracted coronavirus. First time I've contracted it ever. KT thinks this is her second time. Contracted it from family members who thought that it would be nice to go out of town to see some other family members without masks and without vaccines. And yeah, I met up with KT the next day, and bada bing, bada bang, we're sick. So we just want to update you guys on that, but we still want to put out an episode, talk about some things. Also, we in Memphis, Tennessee. It was just 70 degrees 2 days ago. It is 28 today.
Global warming.
It's just a lot going on, guys. Just send us some positive vibes, please. I beg of you.
Yeah, because I was just in the hospital on Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the hospital on Christmas, and now we've got coronavirus, and, everything just seems like it's going downhill.
We're going to make it, though. It's the first. This is the beginning of the year. If the year is starting out like this, I think it's going to be an amazing year.
So recently, Gabby and I were talking about how people, specifically capitalists, are always like, well, socialism can't work, communism can't work because people are inherently selfish. It's not going to work because people are going to steal from you or people are going to take advantage of you. And we've even got this conversation told to us whenever we were doing the fridge. One week we were doing the fridge, and someone told us that what if people steal that free food that you have in the fridge? People are inherently terrible, and we must, take everything away from them. We must monitor that free food because we don't want them to steal it. So, Gabby and I started thinking, why do people think like this, and why do they seem to think that it's quote-unquote human nature, that people are inherently bad? So yeah, Gabby, what do you think?
Well, now that we turn it on this way, I think it has to do with not only capitalism, but religion, Christianity, which teaches about the original sin, that everybody is inherently evil from a baby. And so if you think this way, I can see why you think that people coming together and working together wouldn't work because, the devil might influence them. But it's not really based in reality.
And I'm asking because I don't know. I wasn't indoctrinated into Christianity like you. So what does that mean? What does it mean, the original sin?
Oh, I mean Adam and Eve. When Adam and Eve ate the fruit, therefore every other person, any descendants, everybody else that was ever created has sin in them already.
What?
Yes. And so
what?
That's what they think. So I can see that. And then also, conveniently, like we say, a lot of these things that evangelicals believe, it goes right into capitalism. You believing that, you thinking the worst of your fellow man makes you less likely to talk to your fellow man. It makes you less likely to have community with them, which makes you less likely to buck up to something if something goes wrong. You have no support system. It makes you less likely to stand up for what you believe in because you ain't got nobody to have your back. And that's what they want. That's what society and this capitalist society thrives on, us being individualistic, us not having unions, us not having political organizations, us not having extended families. Because with the lack of those people, that is resources you're going to have to pay out to provide you with similar services instead of just relying on your fellow man and getting by.
Which I think is something that poor people often have to do no matter what. Which is why I think a lot of times, more times than not, which this is not always true because there are poor conservatives, we know this, but a lot of times poor people band together. More times than not, you're seeing poor people crowdfunding for each other. We got $10 in our bank account. I'll give you $5 and I have $5. I feel like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a capitalist type of thought process. But on the flip side of that, it's so weird, is that, like you said, evangelicals or even the capitalists, they'll tell you, oh, well, why don't you gather all your funds together and help these children over there in some random country that you're never going to go to, or we're going to go to some random country we've never been to, and we're going to try and evangelicalize those people. And it's like, are you only pro community? Are you only pro together when it benefits your imperialist, capitalist thought process?
Yes. These capitalists will tell us that people can't come together and work towards a common goal, and they literally do that all the time.
Yeah,
they literally band together and tell each other what to trade in the stock market. They literally band together, form more mergers with each other, and partnership deals with each other. Make sure nobody goes bankrupt. Make sure if the company goes under, somebody's still gonna have a job. They literally always have each other's back, but they want to convince us that we can't do it. When it's not even about extra $100 million. This is about life or death.
Yeah.
They want you to believe with your life on the line, with you needing food, needing clothing, needing a place to stay, that you ain't finna team up with other people and get it done if it needs to be done. That don't even make sense. They don't make no type of sense. And I think it's really, a lot of it really has to do with that religious upbringing. Because even for myself, it took time for me to get to the point to deconstruct that part of my brain. Because that had been so ingrained in me that people are inherently bad. That you always got to look over your shoulder because you never know.
You never know what. That's what I'm confused about.
You never know if the devil gonna get into them and they gonna do what's wrong.
You know what that sounds like to me? Paranoia. Like, not.
But that's what it is. That's what it is. And that's what makes you so distrustful of each other. And again, it all works into it. And so when you think about it like that, like this whole capitalist, white supremacist, evangelical structure is so complex and so just perfectly crafted. Everything complements everything else, just to make us, by the end of the day, say, I give up. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to help anybody. I'm just going to get my money. I'm going to stack my paper and try to get into the suburbs, and that's the rest of my life.
I mean, that's easier, right? That's going with the grain, not against the grain.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't blame people for doing that, but at the same time, like, it does piss me off when people come back to you and say, well, this isn't possible. Like, you've had help from people in your life.
Yes.
People are literally giving you loans in your life so that you can go and get a house, but it's not possible for other people to help each other. Now, when we talk about socialism and communism, it isn't just about helping each other, but it does definitely play a big role into it, and being empathetic with other people's struggles and other people's pain and suffering
is a start.
Yeah, right. And if you don't even have that, what are we gonna do? Like, we're gonna have to give that to you first. You gotta get that first before you can go further.
And one thing before we go to the next thing. The thing about it, I always talk about their pre-K curriculum because, like I said, I don't know who created it. I don't know who over it. But some of that stuff is some good stuff. And one of the main things they want to teach these pre-K and kindergartners is how to get along with others, how to share with others, how to work as a group, how to view other people as worthy of not hitting them and sharing your stuff. You know, there's like I can understand as a child, like a baby, you're selfish.
But also, no, check this out. If we take what we know about capitalism in the school, is it not in their best benefit to teach children that? So that once they get into the workforce, they're not fighting and they're not off the job? They're not being able to work together, so they're not off the job. Like, it's in the benefit of the capitalists in order for them to teach the child that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In certain aspects, they want you to have community. Like at church.
Exactly.
They want you to have community. At your job, they want you to be able to work fast with everybody.
We're all family. We're a family here at the job.
Right, but when it comes to just life outside of that corporation, They don't want that. They say it's not possible, even though we're living and we're seeing that it is. It's interesting.
It's a
But
very
that's how this ideology works. We talked about dialectical materialism. This is a what's the word, ideological,
contradiction.
it's a contradiction that they put out there, but it's meant to not make sense.
Yeah.
It's meant to not make sense. But yeah, definitely, guys. So yeah, whenever you hear somebody say something about human nature, just flip them the bird, and
Gabby.
because they are not being truthful. They know if they was on an island, they would not go by themselves and try to hunt and create their own house by themselves. They would stay with the pack.
Yep.
Because what sense does that make? There's strength in numbers intentionally. All right, so we want to actually respond to some YouTube comments we got this week that I think need to be shared to you all because it's entertaining to me. KT's going to read it and she's going to respond, and I am too. This is in response to our Capitalism is Killing Black People episode. And we want to shout out our friend, what's their name?
Unitive Science.
Unitive Science. Cause they dropped us some paragraphs up in our video. And yeah, go ahead, KT.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read the first comment, and then we're just gonna reply to that. We kind of replied on the thread, but it was just like too much to type, and it was just like not worth replying. So anyway, they said heart disease is because of capitalism? ? That is the dumbest thing I've heard. Heart disease is a result of diet, stress, and not working out. A matter of fact, people who create practical solutions to handling diet, stress, and working out benefit financially a great deal in a capitalist society. So yeah, this whole comment, there's so much to it. It's just a wreck. It's just a wreck. Our argument in that episode, if you want to go back and listen to it, is basically that capitalism, because it is very stressful, because people are having to work nonstop, it's terrible on the human body. It's not, quote unquote, natural on the human body. It's not something that our bodies are supposed to be doing nonstop. So it causes you great stress, which can cause heart disease. So anyway, basically, I'm going to go back to what he said. He said that heart disease is a result of diet, which if we're taking what we said in that previous episode, what dictates diet, right? It's the amount of money that you have to spend on food. Do you have access to quality ingredients? Sure, you may have access to it, but here's the thing, can you afford those quality ingredients? Probably not, unless you're on some kind of government assistance. And even if you are on government assistance, guess what? They also put restrictions on certain foods. So it's like non-stop diet. Heart disease is part of diet, yes. But we have to look at the factors dialectically that would cause your diet not to be good.
Yeah. And it's
stress. I've already explained that part. And then not working out. People can't always work out. Working out is not everyone's forte. Working out is not something that people can do 100% of the time, especially if you're disabled, even if you're not disabled. Maybe you just don't want to work out. So I think that this person, they also said that a matter of fact, people who create practical solutions to handling those things benefit financially a great deal in a capitalist society. Of course they benefit financially. That was our whole point. That was literally our whole point. No one should benefit financially from the pain and suffering from other people.
I love these comments. I love when people make these so half-hearted, like you just should do this and you just should do that, like heart disease and all this, like they have the magic key. They have the answers to everybody's problem. Well, here's the thing. Whoop-de-doo, if it was so easy, it wouldn't be so prevalent in America. There's a reason. There's literally a reason. Diet, we already talked about this stuff. But even for myself, I'm a vegetarian. I'm very into my health. I work out 6-7 times a week. And for me, the diet part is still hard. Because by the time I leave work, by the time I try to do some music and go to the gym. I do not have time to cook no food. So the most I can do is find something I can plop up in the microwave with a whole bunch of sodium and fat. And the little vegetables and the little fruits you get is so expensive, and they rot the next week.
So here's the thing.
So
What you just said about the vegetable thing, I think it's really important that we mention like food insecurity here, because Gabby and I have experienced something. We go to like different Kroger's every single week to pick up groceries and things like that. And one week we went to a Kroger over here by my house or my apartment, and the fruit that Gabby got by the Kroger by my house went rotten in like 2 days. But if we buy fruit over near Gabby's house, which is in a more expensive neighborhood, the fruit goes bad in more like a week. So it's not just about accessibility to certain foods either. If we're talking about that, it's yes, you may have accessibility to it, but is it quality? Are you gonna be able to eat that? And is it a food desert? Is it a food desert that's going on?
There's so many factors.
Like,
do you even have a grocery store? If you have a grocery store, do they have good produce? Do they have good meats? If they have good produce and they have good meats, do you have enough time to prepare that food? If you do have enough time to prepare that food, do you have enough time to do this exercising that you should be doing? If you do have enough time to do that, do you have enough time to watch your kids? Literally. Help them with their homework.
Like, and then they also want you to read books all the time too. Like, at what point do you expect me to rest? You're so focused on getting people to do all these things. When do you expect us to rest? But we won't even be able to sleep at that point.
You won't. But and the jobs take so much of your life. They take so much of your time. It's funny. It's really funny. And then the doctors and stuff, they get on TV wagging their fingers at people. Nobody asks, where do you work? How many hours do you work a day? How much do you get paid every month? Do you have enough money to afford a gym membership? Do you have enough money to afford all this fresh produce that my personal chef cooks for me?
I was going to say, can you even afford a personal chef to cook that stuff for you? Like, there's so much that goes into it that these people just don't understand because they're privileged and they've probably had access to those things, or they had those things without having to double think about it. And that's something I was talking about on Twitter in regards to diet and exercise and all that, is like, really, as far as food goes, as far as working out goes, those are two of the biggest signs of wealth that I can think of. Because you're telling me that you can afford a gym membership every single month, okay, without even thinking about it. You have enough time in your day to go to the gym every single day without thinking about it. Or you can go to the grocery store and you can put food in your cart without thinking about how much that food is going to cost. You don't even have to use your credit card. You don't have to use food stamps. You literally pick up food and put it into your cart. That is a sign of wealth.
Yeah. And you'll have some people, like I said, I've been in that world. You have some people that may not have a lot of money, and they be like, I can do that. I go leave work, go to the gym. I leave work, get my food, prepare my food, all this. But what they don't tell you is every other aspect of their life is failing.
Literally, like they can't have relationships.
They have no relationships with, or no healthy relationships with their partners or whatever, whoever they dating, with their family members. All their money goes to food. They can't really afford no nice clothes because of that. Like, it's so much. And that's the thing. Like, that's with all of this. The problem is always capitalism. It wants us to point fingers. That's why it don't want us to think communally. That's why it wants us to think individually, so we can just say, it is your fault, person, for your heart disease and having a stroke. It is your fault, unvaccinated person, that the pandemic has gone for as long as it has. Therefore, there's no responsibility put on the elected officials whose job it literally is to keep us safe and to make sure that our quality of life is up to standard in the world. That's their job. That's literally what they get paid for. That's literally what your doctors get paid for. I don't understand that, but that's the way that it rolls. So, yeah, thank you, whoever that person is, again, for your great comment, for your ignorance. It gave us something to discuss on here. And yeah, so what do you think? Last thing before we go, since we are one of the victims of this administration now, what do you think about the current COVID response that Joe Biden said, as far as saying that it's out of the federal government's hands and he's now leaving it up to the states?
One of the first things that happened this morning when I woke up, Gabby came over here, and one of the first things I said to them was, you know, we got COVID, and Joe Biden had a whole SNL skit for us. He literally. What do I think about it? I think it's a joke. It's a damn joke. It's hilarious. I'm surprised we're not living, this is not some kind of fever dream that we're having.
Yeah.
That's how, it just doesn't seem real at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
He literally had people in the Oval Office dancing. And then he said, bye, deuces, I'm out.
Deuces.
He got people dying every single day. You got COVID cases increasing every single day. They're not going to close out schools. They're not going to close down your jobs. You essentially are going to get sick no matter what at this point. And that is evil. That is evil, and that is violent. That is evil and violent.
And let me tell you something. We both vaxxed and boosted. This mild case is not nothing to play with neither.
No.
Don't let them get you twisted. Oh, it's just going to be a sniffle or nothing. I've been on my behind.
We haven't even been able to get up and do things because we're so weak.
So, yeah, it's a mess, and these people are still over here saying, but what about Trump? But what about Trump? I swear to God, I'm already printing up my signs now. I've already got the ink. As soon as the midterms finna come up, I am walking down every street with a polling location, telling people to not vote. I'm going to have a mascot. We're going to be dancing around, have some music going around. I will make sure I will drive people back home. I will go into the lines, get a shuttle, and take people back to their house so that they do not vote for these doggone politicians. I promise.
Local ones either.
Yes. Yes, because they ain't doing nothing to push the issue of no mask mandate.
They're really not. They are literally doing nothing. If anything, they're making it worse because they're going out without masks. We've literally seen some of the prominent people who are pro-vaccination out and about in the county without a mask.
And saying they got COVID, yeah.
And saying they got COVID.
So, yeah, this is all right, guys. But we're sick, as we said. So, we just going to wrap it up. But we thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I hope everybody's having a happy new year so far. If you are sick like us, drink your water, take your vitamins, get some greens, get some fruit, and get you plenty of rest. For everybody else, hope y'all stay safe and un-COVIDed.
Eat some candy, because Gabby's going to tell you to eat all these vegetables. Just eat some candy.
No. Get you a KN95 mask if possible.
I know that, maybe you guys can look online and see if there's, free things. We might be able to look something up and see if there's any free, because those masks are really expensive, and not everyone can afford them. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. This has been Gabby.
And Katie.
And this has been Building Our Power.